This is a mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. All right, now we're doing an audio check. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just kidding. Let's go to the stream and see what happens. All right. Oh, all right. Audio checks complete. What is up, loyal lads and ladies? My name is Midnight Wolf, and welcome to day 2, part 1 of Citizencon 2954, or 2014, or 2024. Already screwing up here. I just kind of wanted to explain a couple of things before we get started. Kind of some things to keep in mind with this particular stream. So I'm going to be, there we go, I can now hear myself. I'm going to be breaking this day 2 up into 2 parts, and I'm also not doing it live, you know, as they're playing it. Obviously, it's already over with. They did it earlier this morning. I was not able to do it early in the morning like I did yesterday morning. Couple of things that I kind of like it doing it this way. One, I don't have to feel like I'm rushing around trying to get things on par with what's going on. If I have to kind of like pause the stream, I won't have that sense of urgency to like, oh, I need to stay like up to date with it. Like, so it gives me a little bit more time to be a little bit more lax in that regards. And also it works with my schedule for today. So no worries there. But if you hadn't watched along in day 1, kind of the format that I'll be going with this is I'm going to go through, of course, the schedule here in just a little bit, and then we're just going to hit play and just let it roll. After the panel, when it gets kind of to the more like downtimed parts of it, I might, you know, summarize what we just saw. If they get to a point where they're like taking like a 30-40 minute break or whatever, it's a great opportunity to sit back and kind of recap everything we've seen. And I even have a notepad, which you can kind of see the background removers kind of making it harder to see there, but got my pencil and notepad ready to go so I can take notes, and that way I can let you guys know what my highlights are throughout the stream. But you can expect 2 of the panels in this first part, and then later on I will log back in and probably start streaming at around 8 p.m. tonight, US Central Time. So you'll want to stick around for that, because we are going to be showcasing their final panel in part 2 later this evening. But in part 1, we're actually going to be covering the first 2 panels of day 2. It's crafting your home is the first one, and let me pull it up so I can actually read it. So panel 1 is crafting your home. So explore the fundamentals of crafting and base building, including how they combine to enable new opportunities for players and ultimately create the future of life amongst the stars. I'm really excited about this one. I cannot wait to see what we are getting in regards to base building, and hopefully something relatively soon. So I'm really excited about that panel. It's gonna be great. Then you have Captains of Industry, and this is basically the ship panel, or it kind of replaces the ship panel. So uncover the ships and ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tools for base building in the verse, revisit a classic, and more. And I will go over the final panel in part 2, or at the start of part 2. So we're pretty much done there in regards to the schedule. And yeah, I guess without further ado, we could probably just go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Let me see if there's anything else. There's one more thing I need to do before we kick this thing off. Nope, wrong one. There we go. And cool. Oh, hi, Dismer. How you doing, buddy? If I could talk. Excited to see your reaction to day 2. Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't really seen anything about it. It's gonna be great. first day one was really nice. Really enjoyed seeing what they have. And I'll give kind of my overall like kind of review of this year's Citizencon after we've seen it all. I'll kind of review day one even tonight, and of course review day two, and kind of give my opinions of the overarching panel, or the overarching Citizencon. So without further ado, let me go ahead and transition to this screen, and then whenever the panels begin, I'll bring up another screen. So let's go from there. Pretty tired after waking up so early again. Yeah, I wish I would have been able to wake up early and watch it all live, but my schedule just didn't work work for me. So, and I might even fast forward through a lot of the pre-show stuff. There's really probably no need to stick around for the pre-show stuff, but I don't know. We'll see how far I can get, or how much time the pre-show takes. Looks like they don't talk too terribly much before. It's like 20-30 minutes beforehand, it looks like. So I might just go ahead and let it roll. So we'll just go ahead and get started. All right, see you guys on the other side of the panel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show for day 2 of Citizencon. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and we're back. We're back here in the UES Barbary, otherwise known as Hall B, otherwise known as Manchester Central, otherwise known, and this is where you're all going to cheer, as Citizencon. Honestly, people ask what the better parts of my job is, and being able to just do some call and response with the crowd is probably it. Watch, I'm going to do it again. At Citizencon. Woo! That's really quite cool. We are here in the general lounge of the UES Barbary, where I'm going to be sitting for most of today, because if you watched day 1, I made an ill-fated decision during the pre-show yesterday to attempt physical movement of any kind. Generally, I'm against it. If you consider physical movement of any kind past the age of 40, don't. But if you have to do physical movement at any point after the age of 40, my recommendation is to stretch at least once in 14 years. So yeah, we're here on day 2. Let's go over a little bit of day 1. Day 1, we saw the Brave New Worlds Genesis presentation. It was a fantastic look at all the new planet tech tools that will allow us to build planets, like the newly revealed Castor Sherman. We checked in with the organization presentation. I know it's a social and universe, and it had all kinds of stuff, the party chat and all that stuff, but really for me, like, I was there in 2014 when and met Benoit for the first time when he did the very first organization and presentation. And for the last 10 years, every other time I see that man, I'm like, when, Benoit? When's our time? When are the orgs coming to the game? And to know that they're finally in active development on their way to the precision universe is one of the more exciting things about Star Citizen for me. It's just, you know, we're all in these orgs. Everybody's in an org. There's med runners over there. There's ADI over there and stuff like this. But that's outside the game. To finally get these orgs inside the game is a major milestone that I've waited for so long. And yeah, it's not happening today or tomorrow, but it is in active development. We'll have more updates on that when we do our other shows, the ISC and the SAL, over the remainder of this year and well into next year. Then we had that cosplay contest. Who actually won? Who won the cosplay contest? It was that giant Pico, right? I forgot to check. I was unfortunately doing some other stuff, but I hope it was the giant Pico that won. But of course, Ken Shadow, last year's winner, was back and everything. I haven't seen Ken Shadow. Ken Shadow, are you in the building? Ken Shadow, if you're in the building, come find me in the general lounge. And then, what was it? Dress to Kill, finally making good at all those armor specializations. No, don't take my water. I need my water. You just don't bring back my water. I don't mind if it's a shot I have to drink. It's my water. He took my water away. But the return of the Valakar sandworm, we've been waiting for that since 2016. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you, we did several playthrough tests over the last couple of years. Okay, they really wanted to move it out of the shot, so I'll move it out of the shot. Watching that thing in action, the players play it, it is devastating, it is deadly, it needs a lot of tuning, and I'll give you a little BTS. There was one playthrough that we couldn't use any of the footage from because its projectile spit was bright white. And I want to elaborate on that. You can use your own minds to wonder why we didn't use that. And then, of course, the Beyond Pyro presentation, where we finally got confirmation that Nix is our next system, and the reveal of the Castra system pre-production. I'm going to talk, Ian. I know you watched the show. That's pre-production? Are you serious? Like, I've never seen pre-production look quite so good. So yeah, we're all really excited. And then of course, the Squadron demo. Who saw the Squadron presentation? Oh. Yeah, okay, so I've been with the company for about a decade now.
He really likes to bring that up, by the way.
For the first 9.5 years, I made myself a rule that Squadron I wasn't going to pay any attention to. I never went to the meetings. I didn't let people tell me about it. I wanted
It's okay. We love you, Jared.
For myself as a fan. And then several weeks ago, we started playthroughs of that, and I often say we have the same conversations you guys do, we have the same reactions you guys do, just a few weeks early, and that was very much what happened with the Squadron presentation. We'd get these big reviews in the studio, and we gather everybody, so everybody could watch the playthrough on our big screen in the studio, and everybody could take notes about everything that needed to be adjusted and stuff, and it's been a heck of an experience over the last 2 months, really dialing that in and get that down. And despite the crashes that happened yesterday, a full, brand new playthrough is available on YouTube now. Rich Tyrer, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this, but I'm going to share it. Rich Tyrer left here, went straight back to the office, straight back to his computer, fired that thing up, and just played it, start to finish, 75 minutes without issue, recorded it, gave it to us, and said, "Get that on YouTube now."
And I'll do a watch along of that too, so that way it's not as chopped up as what it was, because that was a interesting fiasco both on Twitch's side and on CIG's side.
Over the last 2 months when we were doing our weekly reviews, we had lots of players. Shout out to Tommy, who would play during these reviews and stuff. And Rich is an exceptional player at that. Those Vandal who were charging around McLaren were super lethal. And the turret section has full Maelstrom destruction, so a lot of folks who were playing it, the turret would just explode. And yeah, he fell down at the end, but other people would just explode out into space and have to restart. So Rich, you're a decent game director, but you're actually a really good player at that. And you made that Legatus difficulty look easy. So congratulations. So one of the cool aspects of Citizencon every year is that every time I walk past somebody, it seems like they hand me something. And are like, "Here, Disco, put this in your pocket." And this is a collection of the things that I've been handed over the last 24 hours. We've got, these are pins from an F-35 ejector seat. It's an F-30. I can't remember if it's an F-35 or an F-18. I know those numbers are not remotely close, but I'm very tired. But these were pins from an ejector seat. We've got a bottle opener. You can never come to a Star Citizen event without somebody handing you a bottle opener. Challenge coins. We talked about challenge coins last year. Atlas Defense Industries. This is one from Citizencon this year. Different orgs. This was somebody's personal giant challenge bar, I guess. I'm not. These are all metal. These are really nice. And then patches. We love patches. Both Tyler Wicken, shout out to Tyler Wicken. Both Tyler Wicken and I have a huge board in our office where we collect all the different patches that folks give us. We've got Bar Citizen patches from all over the world, including one of my most cherished, a patch from Bar Citizen Iraq, where it was just 4 enlisted servicemen having their own Bar Citizen quite a few years ago. And then there's some curiosities, like this guy. I don't know, I asked him what I was supposed to do with this when he handed it to me, and he said, "Put it in your mouth." I understand that's what a poo lolly is for, but we'll do that after stream. Maybe. And then, of course, shout out to the Med Runners. I'll tell you, Med Runners, one of our favorite orgs in the game, dedicated just to helping other people. I ran into the Med Runners at breakfast this morning, and because I had a long, painful walk into the studio, they literally put me in their car and drove me to the event today. So shout out to the Med Runners, helping people in the game, helping people out of the game, doing the kind of things that we love. So, oh, and this was very cool. I don't know what this says. I think this is the manufacturer. I think this is the manufacturer name. This is Gattac, or I can't think of the name of the other one right now. And then this weird Copion thing. So how are we doing on time? Oh, the time's not up there. All right, so one more thing we do before we throw it to Dan and Sam. I wanted to do, back in Citizencon, our first digital Citizencon in 2021, I made the mistake of reading online comments after the presentation during the show. And there's nothing I like more than repeating the same mistakes of the past. So our lovely social media team, shout out to Galactica and Mickey, put up a thread asking for your comments about day one of Citizencon, and let's go through and see some of what people said. Citizen of the Verse said, Castra, my new home. Lovely picture of Castra there. We've got Serious Fun says he loved the PU, that the PU got clarity on its next two systems, and that the visual fidelity of Squadron 42 is off the charts. Oh, and that Zeus bomber jacket. I'm not wearing mine today. Who's got that Zeus bomber jacket on? Somebody come over here. This thing is amazing. I want to shout out two members of our marketing and merchandise team, Mandy and Kat, who led the charge to get the coolest jacket we've ever made based on an authentic M1A jacket. Again, Mandy and Kat. If you see them over at the merch booth, tell them Jared sent you, and tell them how much you appreciate their work on this. They're responsible for all the merch at this year's Citizencon, and I've been to 10 of these things, and I feel like this is the best merch we've had. I'm wearing the new blackout hoodie today, and this is a really great material. This is comfortable. This is going to become a new daily driver here. Okay, that's enough shilling for the merchandise. Rick Rate says his favorite thing was the Worm and Sherman and this handsome guy, and there's a gif of Henry Cavill. There at the beginning of our Squadron 42 demo. Let's see. Cosmic D says he loved the dynamic weather demo. All right. Do you know, making videos for Star Citizen is hard. Making videos where the environment is actively trying to crack you is very, very hard. Like, none of that was faked. We got our poor guys, they got into that Zeus and took off, and you saw how it struggled to lift. That wasn't fake. That was the actual dynamic weather system pushing down on the ship and saying, no, you ain't taking off. And then they managed to get it off, and then managed to fly in a straight line and stuff like this. Is that for me? Oh, they want me to wrap up. How rude. How rude. All right, so we'll read one more comment, and then we'll pass on. We're not going to read that one. We're not going to read that one. You don't even know my mom. Okay. Uplink says, my favorite part was when the sandworm said, it's sandworming time, and then sandwormed all over those guys. We remember it exactly the same, Uplinks. All right, so that does it for me. I'm going to throw it to Dan and Sam, who I believe are over at the sim pits, and see what kind of hijinks they're getting into. Guys?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Citizencon Day 2. Woo! I'm Sam, and if you didn't meet me yesterday, I kind of do some voices and stuff. I also flew a carg. But I am supposed to be here with Dan, and for some reason he's not popping up like he did yesterday. Hang on. I think I can smell incompetence. Oh, Dan, there you are. Are you doing okay?
No, I'm not doing all right. Look at this. I'm keep blacking out.
Dan, I don't think you should try playing this game.
I don't think I should either, but it's so fun. If you guys are here on the show floor, these Monster Tech sim pits are really haptic. My ass is vibrating right now with the ricochet of bullets hitting my rear.
Dan, shall I take over for you?
Please take over.
Okay, maybe I'll give him a break. Come on, Dan.
All right. Help, thank you. Turns out, not very good at video games, and Sam's really good at video games. So this is gonna go well. Yeah, let's see you get in. All right, well, maybe it's not so easy. Maybe it's not so easy. To be fair, I left you in a pretty shit situation. You were set up for failure. Come follow me. We're gonna move away from my abject failure as a video gamer for a moment. Hi guys, welcome back to Citizencon Day 2 here at Manchester Central. We're so happy to have you back. Like Jared said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the panels yesterday. We covered a bunch of stuff yesterday, but don't worry, there's still a bunch more for you guys to check out today. Between ships, between base building, between the road beyond, there's still a bunch of stuff for us to cover. As you can see, we are here in the general lounge here at the show floor, Hall B. Here at Citizencon, let's take a look. As you can see, we have our lovely Hornet. We have our players just chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, shooting some saddle ball outside of school. When a couple of duel who were up to no good started making trouble in the neighborhood, we got in one little fight, and Captain Bishop got scared, or Admiral Bishop got scared. We said, Squadron 42, release date 2026. Who is hype about that? Awesome, guys.
Wish it was sooner, but that's okay.
We are going to be covering a bunch of stuff here
Take
today.
your time,
we have
get
a
it
bunch of
polished.
community booths still to cover. We have some awesome models to show off here on the show floor as well. There's still so much more to cover, and I'm really excited. We only have a little bit more time together, though. I want to make sure you guys are taken care of, and hopefully you guys are having just as much fun watching the show as I am running it. Now, as you can see, we have our themed stuff. We didn't really get into the theming last year. I want to get down into sort of the micro this time. So let's take a look at the outside of these booths. As you can see, we have Bioticorp Waste. We have the Robber Space Industries. Come follow me a little bit. We're going to go a little bit into the community booth area, just a little bit. As you can see, we have this problem in the verse as well. Get a look at that. People just stacking up their med boxes. Wasteful. Wasteful. For shame. Throw it away.
There seriously needs to be
Littering.
functioning
Hi, guys.
trash cans.
Come follow me. We're going to make our way out. Hi, everybody. We're making our way through.
That deletes stuff in the game.
Guys, it has been such a pleasure to be back at Citizencon. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Dan Halbrick. I'm the community producer here at Cloud Imperium Games. I produce our community managers. That's Jake Acapella, that's Freya, that's Christian, that's Ulf, that's Niku. All the people who you guys interact with on Spectrum, on Twitter, X, who cares what it's called these days. I help produce those guys and make sure they're giving you guys the updated information, chatting with y'all, and it's been such a pleasure getting to actually get to know you guys as well. You guys have been so amazing here at Citizencon this year. We're just making sure that we catch as many people here on the show floor as possible.
The guy wearing that was in the cosplay.
Well, we have the Addison Lounge,
wearing the red
Lounge is
armor.
a place just like the General Lounge for you guys to chill out. Make sure you guys are getting a drink. If you guys have a VIP ticket, you guys have special access to bar and refreshments here as well. You guys don't have to wait in the long line. Make sure you guys are checking that out as well. Yui, thank you for your service. We have that huge United Empire of Earth timeline as well, going all the way back to 2137 to the pretty near recent future of 2950. It's only 4 years ago based on our in-lore world. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously we have the Hornet. We've covered that to death, so I'm not going to cover it, but it still looks pretty cool. Now, I think we're ready to throw over to our first presentation, so I'm going to throw it back over to Jared. We'll see you guys later for some more community booth stuff. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Sorry, I love you guys, but let's be honest. We're here for the good stuff.
Now I'm just hydrating on camera. Just. He's just doing his job. We are backstage now. This is an area that we don't usually get to see at Citizencon. This is the backstage area where the nerve center of the entire live stage show here. These are the folks who are working tirelessly to make sure that all the right slides go on screen, all the right videos play, all the right sounds play. Hey everybody, how you doing? As you can see, they're very, very focused. You excited to be here? Consummate professionals dedicated to doing their job. Hey, how am I doing? My mom likes what I do. All right, so guys, that's it for the pre-show. We're about, what time is it? How much time we got? We're about, oh, that's not even my clock. We're about 10 minutes away from the proper start of day 2, so we're going to take a break here. This is your last chance to get a snack, get a drink, go to the bathroom, kiss your loved ones goodbye for the next 4 to 5 hours as we present day 2 of Citizencon. It's a different beast. Yesterday was the universe that we create. Today is dedicated entirely to the destiny that you're going to build. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it, and I'm really, really excited about today. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in about 10 minutes, everybody. The persistent universe was so much the first introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage master of the self-performed introduction and Mama Huckabee's second favorite son, Jared Huckabee. Hello, Citizencon! It's day 2. We liked it so much the first time, we're going to do it again. Now, as the last guy during the pre-show said, day 1 was focused on the universe that we're creating. Day 2 is all about the destiny that you forge. Now, a little history lesson here. Back in 2015, the persistent universe was first launched. I think it was November or December and whatnot. Everybody remember Port Olisar? Everybody remember that one Big Benny's machine that somehow you could move it? And the Big Benny's challenge of spending hours and hours of just doing this? Trying to get that thing upstairs.
Now he's gonna complain about his arms.
Shout out to Bad News Baron if you're watching. No, those were the days. Now, since that time, the persistent universe has grown. It's expanded. 3.0 arrived, and it had a whole bunch of new planets and moons and stuff like this. We've got Microtech, we've got Hurston, we've got Area 18, and what's the last one? We got Lorville. If you live with the developers, they still call them Stanton 1, Stanton 2, Stanton 3, so it's hard getting the two realities to reconcile in your head. But since this time, you've all been visitors. You've logged in, and you've done your thing, you've gone on adventures, you've fought some xeno threat, you've mined some barrel, apparently, a whole lot of barrel, if we're looking at that trivia from yesterday. But this entire time, you've been visitors. Starting next year, you stake a claim in the persistent universe. Starting next year, the persistent universe truly becomes yours.
That's exciting.
And we have got a handful of gentlemen to tell you how they're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and how amazing it's all going to be. So please welcome to the stage design director for Star Citizen and Squadron 42, one of my dear friends, one of my DMs. Hey, when are we playing again? That's not a good look. All right, please welcome to the stage
Design Director Rick Porter.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Citizencon. It is an honor to be here. Yesterday, we presented the verse that we're creating for you. We shared new tech, locations, creatures, giant worm, social features, things we're doing with orgs. We even played the first chapter of Squadron 42 live. How great was that? Yeah? A few minor glitches, but nothing we can't sort out. So today, we got something just as exciting to talk about. But instead of focusing on what we're creating for you, we want to show you the world that you can build. With crafting, we're going to give you the tools to create your own loot, to build your own home. Crafting will fundamentally change not only how you play the game, but why you play the game. So, what is crafting? Why does it matter? Why should you be as excited as I am about this? Well, first off, crafting is a profession. It requires its own set of tools, the knowledge of how to use them. Crafting offers progression. You become a better crafter by learning new blueprints and upgrading them. Crafting builds on the existing gathering professions. When you would go out and you collect your materials for crafting, we are adding new depth and meaning to those activities. Crafting provides customization. There isn't just one way to craft something. Like I said, we have upgrades. How you make and upgrade the things you craft is sometimes just as important as what you're crafting. In addition, you can earn cosmetic upgrades, craft unique items, even subscriber flair. But nowhere is this versatility more obvious than base building. We're going to have nearly limitless options for how you construct your home, how to customize your base to meet your own goals. Most importantly, crafting gives you a lot of new choices. The choices will impact your goals in the game, your interactions with other players, and eventually how you see the game itself. So where do we get started with crafting? Well, you can't craft without materials. Luckily, we've got a lot of ways to gather resources in the game. And crafting is designed to complement and expand on all of these existing gathering professions, as well as future additions. Let's take a closer look at mining as an example. We've got hand mining and vehicle mining and ship mining. That's a lot of mining. But with crafting, we're going to introduce a lot of materials. So there's not just more to mine, but we're also going to specialize. So for instance, each type of mining will have its own unique materials to gather. Gathering specific materials efficiently will require you to use the right gathering profession. Let's talk about refining. Currently, only mining resources can be refined, but doing so allows you to turn them into more valuable processed resources. With crafting, we're going to expand refining to include options for all raw materials. In addition to expanding the variety of materials you can gather, refining lets you create processed materials that you're going to need to craft your upgraded blueprints. So now that you've gathered all these materials, what do you do with them? Currently, your only options in the game really are to sell them to a shop or maybe complete a contract. Adding crafting into the game radically changes your options. You can still mine, refine, and sell your resources, but now you have the option to make valuable and unique items, weapons, armor, even vehicles and ships. Right? And by valuable, I mean that the crafted gear that you create has the potential to be better than anything you can buy in a shop. But crafting just doesn't end with shiny new gear. Think much bigger. Crafting enables you to build your own home among the stars.
Yeah.
Choose to make a farm, a hunting lodge, an industrial complex, your own trading hub, a military outpost, even a sprawling town with your friends and org mates. Got a lot here, but it's all optional. You can choose to focus on gathering resources and sell them to crafters that need them. You can skip gathering and refining and just focus on being the best crafter you can be. Or you can leave all that gathering and crafting nonsense to other people and just focus on trade and make some money. But that brings me to my last point. Player choice matters. When a player makes a choice, they assign value. Players' choices about crafting and base building will drive player trade. The community's choices will determine the value of the materials and the crafted goods you can all make. The game will still have its own shops and economy alongside players, but now you'll have more options about where you invest and how you prosper. Now, I've given you a nice overview of what we're working on here, and we have a lot more planned for the future. But now that you're familiar with the big picture, I want to introduce some of my fellow developers to come up on stage. They've got exciting details to share with you about the specifics of our new crafting systems, important gameplay improvements.
Doing well, Jay.
Most
Thank you.
exciting, I think anyway.
Hope you are doing
an
well
update to base building.
Well as well.
To start things off, please welcome Jacob Taylor to the stage.
Thank you, Rick. And hello, Citizencon.
What's that?
Hi, I'm Jacob, Senior Gameplay Programmer on crafting. Rick has showed us how crafting will link into a lot of existing and new gameplay, but I think it's time we get into some of the details. I'm going to tell you about the new game mechanics we're introducing, starting with blueprints. Before you can craft anything, you'll need a blueprint. Blueprints provide the recipe to perform all kinds of crafting processes, including refining. You can acquire blueprints through various activities. Some you can buy, some you can find, and some can be unlocked or earned in other ways. You can also upgrade your blueprints through research. We'll go into more detail about what this means a bit later. So, blueprints are the recipe, and Rick already told us the materials you gather and refine will be the ingredients. But there's a bit more to it than that. We have a new concept for materials, material quality. Quality is a property we're adding to all resources you can gather. That's an abstract measurement of how good it is at being whatever it is. You can think of this as the purity of a metal, or the ripeness of a fruit, or something along those lines. This quality will be carried forward from raw resources through the refining process to influence what that batch of materials is best used for in crafting. High quality is more desirable overall, but is more rare, and there are still important uses for low quality materials. More on that later. All raw materials you find in the verse will have a quality rating that's generated based on some rules, the same kind of rules you heard about from the Planet Tech team yesterday. You'll find the same material in many places, but with varying qualities, so you might want to explore to find the best. Some materials that are already rare will be even more valuable if you can find them with high quality. But what's quality for? It's for item stats. Alongside quality, we're introducing a new item stat system to the game. This will allow relevant properties of craftable items to be affected by the quality of materials used to craft them. For resources, just a single quality rating is sufficient to provide variation, but craftable items have such diverse purposes that we need a more detailed system to provide both progression and customization options. We aim to have meaningful item stats for all craftable items, but some examples would be the damage and fire rate of a gun, the wear resistance of a ship component, or even the satiation provided by eating a hot dog.
Cooking.
So, as I said,
Chef's kiss.
the quality of materials will directly affect the item stats, such that higher quality results in better stats. Most items require multiple different materials to make, which may each influence different stats. And in many cases, you'll have a choice of materials to use, which lets you decide which stats to focus on to tailor your items to your playstyle. Here we see I'm making a gun with high-quality aluminium, giving me a nice bonus to integrity and weight. But someone sold me low-quality copper, so I don't get as much fire rate bonus as I could have. To go even further, researching your fabrication blueprints allows you to build higher tiers of an item with improved base stats. So a higher tier item will be better than a lower tier item that was made with materials of the same quality. Making high tier items requires more advanced materials, but is also how you access greater choice as to which stats to improve. This means that your high tier items can not only be better overall, but also more specialized in the areas that are important to you. Most items will have tiers 1 to 3, with tier 1 being the most basic version of the item, and tier 3 being a highly advanced version made with appropriately impressive materials. But you can also craft vehicles. And vehicles are so important that they will go up to tier 5, providing a way for you to really invest in making your favorite vehicles excel. Of course, many of you have already bought your favorite vehicles, so you don't really need to make them from scratch, right? Or maybe you've pirated, salvaged, or otherwise commandeered a vehicle. Not to worry, you can still benefit from crafting by using an upgrade blueprint to increase the tier of an existing vehicle, including the usual stat improvements and customization. Upgrading a vehicle can save a lot of time over crafting it from scratch, so it's a convenient way for established vehicle owners to bring the benefits of item stats to their fleet. Let's take a look in-game at the difference it makes to have high-tier equipment made from high-quality materials. See how the recoil is reduced on our high-tier gun. The spooling is faster on a high-tier quantum drive. And a high-tier scraper beam is much more effective.
Wow.
So, that's an overview of crafting's key game mechanics. I'll now hand over to Torsten to walk you through the full crafting process. Thank you, and have a good day.
Awesome. Future is bright, you guys.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, I'm Torsten, lead system designer of the CGP system design team. We now saw all elements of crafting looked at individually. Let's bring them in order how you, as the player, will experience the crafting profession. You will start with acquiring the correct blueprints as the first step in the crafting process. As Jacob already mentioned, blueprints can be acquired in multiple ways. Let me give you some examples here. You can purchase commonly available blueprints, earn them from reputation and mission rewards, or even find them in loot crates. All content in our game could reward you with a blueprint. Some blueprints will be challenging to find, so players working together may find them easier to acquire. While you may find a blueprint on a datapad or other portable device, the blueprint itself is not a physical item. You don't collect them in a box or stack them on a bookshelf. Blueprints are digital. Once you
that's
claim
good.
one,
Thank
it is
you.
permanently added to your personal library.
I like that.
This library is persistent to your character, and every blueprint you claim is yours forever.
That's awesome. I was
They
just
cannot
thinking
be
about that.
stolen or traded once claimed. But it does not just end with acquiring blueprints. Those tiers of quality that Jacob mentioned are unlocked through blueprint research. Research requires a research data bank which can upgrade your blueprints. Upgrading here means that you unlock a blueprint that allows you to create a better, higher tier version of the same item using more advanced materials. Note, you will still have access to the lower tier versions if you want to craft the cheaper version. In order to upgrade a blueprint, you may need to perform certain actions. In this example, we need to craft 100-volt pistols and have one with a higher fire rate. Other examples would be collect resources, complete missions, or acquire research data from the Science Guild. Research is time-intensive, in addition to the action requirements. It will take time for the research data bank to process your research data and unlock the upgrade. You are also limited in how many research projects you can pursue at once. Now that you have your blueprint and you decided what to craft, you also know what resources to look for. Every blueprint you find will have unique requirements in their resource needs. It will not just be you need iron. We want to make use of the professions we have to meaningfully involve them in the crafting process. Especially for the more advanced blueprints, you can expect that it will require materials from multiple sources. And, as already mentioned by Jacob, pay attention to the quality. If you want to have the perfect item, you also need the best quality. Here, the best way to find the best resources is to get out and explore the world. If you want to find the best hidden materials, then you get yourself a top quality radar. Once you collected the raw materials, the next step is refining them. Refining, like crafting, requires blueprints. Refining blueprints take primary, secondary, and catalyst materials and produce refined materials. The rule is very simple. The quality of the primary raw material defines the quality of the refined material. The secondary material you put in has an impact on the quantity and the time the refining process will take. An optional catalyst can speed up the process further. Let me give you a simple example. If you want high quality steel, you need to put in the best iron you have in the primary slot. You can put any quality coal in the secondary slot without affecting the quality of the steel. But the quality of the coal will influence how much of it you need to produce steel. As an example, if you put in low quality coal, you might require 4 SCU of coal versus high quality coal that only requires 2 SCU. This is one of the important use cases for low quality materials that Jacob mentioned. You can use refining stations in the world as they will be converted to this new process. You can build your own refineries for yourself, you can get your org to help you out, or you can simply trade for the materials that you need on the open market. Now, we are reaching the final step. You got the blueprints, you gathered resources, and refined materials. Now you can create the item you want. And this item can be anything. You will be able to craft anything from FPS equipment to vehicle components, even entire vehicles and buildings. You just need access to the relevant crafting machine. Talking about crafting machines. We will have a variety for you that differ in what process they can support, like a refinery or a dedicated vehicle crafting machine. We will also find them in various places. There will be communal ones like the station refineries you already know, player-owned that can be in your personal hangar, a vehicle, or your base. As all that we have talked about just now, these crafting machines also come in tiers. Here, the tiers will affect how well those machines do their job. You will not only progress in the products you produce, but also in the infrastructure to produce your wares. Just to give you an idea what you will encounter, here are some examples of the crafting machines. There is the nutrition fabricator, the chemical fabricator, an item fabricator, and even fabricators of a much larger scale we will talk about later. Talking about scale, I would like to talk about the future of crafting and the scale it will have in the game that you all know, and how it will change the game moving forward. As you all know, we have a lot of items in the game, and they all require their own unique blueprints. That means our aim is to have more than 1,000 blueprints that include the creation and the refining blueprints. And each of those can be researched to unlock tier upgrades up to tier 3 or tier 5. That's a lot of blueprints. And it will surely take a lot of time to unlock everything. So I, personally, recommend that you, as the crafter you are, focus on a specific field first and extend your knowledge from there. Collaborate and coordinate with your friends and fellow players. If you are part of a group, we invite you to share responsibilities with your org mates. Maybe you will be the FPS crafter while your friend is a ship crafter, but they know a ship component crafter specialist. There's a lot of content, and it will continue to grow over time. You are free to be a generalist crafter, a specialist, or something in between. Pick the blueprints you care about and be the best. Have an exotic shield generator that no one else has the blueprint for but you. Help others and earn credits while doing so. It is a real profession in the game that will benefit from your dedication and attention. As you can tell, crafting will have a huge impact on everything in the game. Even if you do not want to get actively involved, at some point you will stumble over a weapon that got crafted by someone else and you will be using it. People will start selling their crafting goods or the refined materials or even the raw materials for the sole purpose of fulfilling the demand created by crafting. Players like you can become well-known specialists that are sought out to get certain things crafted from. With the ever-expanding game we all love, we will continuously expand our crafting to offer you long-term progression that involves the entirety of our game. And you might have guessed it already, but there's one more thing that crafting is the foundation of, and that is base building.
Let's go.
I will now hand over to Luke. Enjoy the second part of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Well done. Good morning, citizens. Who's excited to start talking about this next topic? Let's get into it. My name is Luc Gijsbertse. I'm the lead environment artist on base building structures. Now that we have an understanding of the fundamentals of crafting, thanks to Jacob and Thorsten, we can explore how crafting is the foundation of base building. Up until now, everything in the game we made for you. From here on, we will give you the tools to build your own stories, your own homes, and truly make the universe yours. Join me on a journey on building our own habitable home on Pyro. Keep in mind that the following footage is work in progress, including its UI, design, and visuals. And we're super excited to share this with you. We found a beautiful location by a lake. This is where we'll build ourselves a home. To do so, we need some resources and the construction graph card. The construction graph card allows us to survey the land, claim the land in a lawful system, and it allows us to build structures. As we've already found the location and don't need to claim land in lawless Pyro, we can straight dive into building our base. Keep in mind, the following UI is work in progress. A survey drone that deploys from the top of the card gives us a controllable augmented view of the land. In the new structure mode, we'll pick a small basic structure and hit construct. For this demo, the construction will be instantaneous, but in the final product, this will take you quite some time. We've done it. We've built our first structure. Let's have a look on the inside. As we walk into the small basic structure, we see an empty interior that is dimly lit. It's up to us to define what we will use this space for. In our case, we will want to make it into a home. We can see that the lights are still off, and that is a problem, because no lights means no atmosphere, no breathable atmosphere. So it's not ideal to live in. So how do we solve this issue? We can improve this by providing the building with power. Let's see if we can build something that helps us out. But before we dive into more building, let's take a quick moment to enjoy the freedom that the survey drone provides us with and admire the aesthetics of our first structure. And I wonder what Declan was up doing there. Keep in mind that base building is still work in progress, but what you're seeing right now has been recorded directly in the client and works seamlessly between first person and the building mode. Okay, enough. Back to base building. In the list of new structures, we see a small fuel generator. That is something that could solve our problem, I think. Power providing structures need to be hooked up to other buildings inside construction ER mode, but we'll explain this later. The fuel generator is one of several structures that provides power, each with their own benefit and drawbacks. Fuel power is quick and easy to build, but it requires a constant supply of fuel besides its regular maintenance. If a structure is not maintained, it will halt its activity. Players will need to maintain fuses to keep the building operational. The better crafted fuse, the longer it lasts. This is where the fuse goes on this building. Next up, we have a terminal that gives us access to the status of our building. And, more importantly, we get to activate it here. That should do it. Let's see if we got power in the building now. As you notice, some of the crates in the background have disappeared, as their content has been consumed during the construction process of the buildings. And it looks like Declan is now hooking up the power to the building. I wonder what he was up to earlier, though. Wow. Declan has been busy decorating the place. As we can see, the lights are now properly working. We got atmosphere, and we can start to use the item fabricator now that there is power. Always handy in case we need a fuse. Let's have a quick look at what we've done so far. We've decorated the place, we made it our own little home. We hooked it up with power. I would say we have a place that we can live in. It might not be much, but I think it's just enough to call it a home. Thank you.
That was good. Get it to me tomorrow. I'm just kidding. What's up?
Now that we have a rough understanding of how base building works, let's dive into some of the specifics of what we just saw. The construction graph card is one of 4 devices used for base building. The graph card is a mobile device that lets you construct a variety of small structures and has been designed specifically to fit into the smallest ships, like the Drake cutter. The graph card allows us to survey the land, to find a good location, to claim the land with credits when we're in a lawful system like Stanton, and most importantly, it lets us build structures. To use the graph card, we will first need to deploy it. Once deployed, we see 2 small construction zones inside the card, and the interactive screen gets revealed to us. From here, we can deploy the survey drone from the extended top part of the card. This survey drone gives us a bird's-eye view of the surrounding area using augmented reality mode, ER mode for short. Let's have a look at some UI concepts of how this augmented reality mode will look like. Here's a concept of construction ER. From here, we get a more detailed view of the land. Where can and can't I settle? For an example, inside a nature reserve, construction will be prohibited. Are nearby areas flat enough to place my structures on? Are there any underground extraction deposits nearby? And if so, what are their quality and quantity? Let's say we found a good place to start building our base. Then next up, we need to find a good place for our first structure. On the left-hand side, we can see that we're now in structure creation mode. Underneath that, there is a list of structures that we can build. Once you have chosen a structure, you'll drag it onto the terrain that will be shown then as a physicalized hologram. From here, you can move and rotate to find the perfect position for your structure. Now that we have chosen a position for our structure, we will need to supply it with crafting materials. Just like the crafting interface that we saw earlier, this is where you choose the materials, and the better materials you choose will result in a better structure. Once you're ready, we'll hit the craft button on the right bottom to send the construction drones printing to the buildings. The automated construction drones will take off from the construction graph card and fly to nearby resources to fill their internal storage and then fly over to the construction site to print the building until their internal storage has been depleted. The construction drone then repeats the loop by filling its internal storage again by nearby resources. Printing buildings will take some time. Keep the construction supplied so that you don't delay the process any further. Let's say our building did just finish printing, then what? Then we need power. We need to power the building. All structures will have an unpowered and a powered state that we can manage inside the resource manager. To provide structures with power, we can easily link generators to structures that need power in the resource management menu within Construction ER. We can also link multiple buildings together. And we can assess the power consumption and shortage of, inside this resource management screen. Keep in mind that operational structures, like power generators, require maintenance of their fuses and sometimes need supplies coming in and going out to be managed. Now that we have a structure and power, what can we do next? Then we can actually upgrade our structure. Structures can be upgraded from tier 1 till tier 3. The better material you provide, the better the improvement will be, just like Jacob and Thorsten explained in the crafting presentation. Tier upgrades can, for example, improve the structural integrity of the building, or make its resource consumption more efficient. To really make your base feel like home, you will want to decorate your base with a wide variety of furniture pieces that can be bought, crafted, and found in the universe. It's up to you to define what you want this space to be. Do you want to decorate it as a hospital? Do you want to make it into a workshop? Do you want to make it into a luxurious bedroom? It's up to you. Furniture can easily be placed and moved using decorative ER mode as an hologram. This is so your furniture can easily fit through doors. This feature is accessible through nearby construction devices, allowing you to place down furniture pieces or even crafting machines that otherwise wouldn't fit through the door. And you get to place them directly from your local inventory. The less trusted among you, or anyone settling in Pyro for that matter, may want to mag-lock their furniture into place so that only you and your friends get to rearrange your decorations. And best of all, decorative ER is not exclusive to base building and can also be used for personal hangers and ships.
Hey, that's pretty good.
To recap, what are the essentials for any base? 1, come prepared, bring the right resources and a construction device with you. 2, use the resource manager, power generators to make your base habitable and functional, and maintain your base with resources and by replacing out worn fuses. And 3, personalize your base, personal hanger and ship with decorative ER. And there we have it, our home in Pyro. Now that we have an understanding of the basics of base building, we'll explore how you can go and make more than just a home. But before I hand you over to Declan, the designer behind base building, I'd like to say a quick thank you for those who made this presentation possible. So a quick thank you to Eddie, Brandon, Jack, Dan, Mark, Xiao, Stefan C, Dom, Stefan T, Carl, Joel, and Rob for your efforts and dedication. Now give me a warm welcome for Declan.
Nice one, James. All right, thank you, Luke. Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name is Dec. I am the system designer behind crafting and base building, and we've just seen a nice little base, right? That's good for cabin in the woods. Maybe you want to place it down next to big redwoods, go and explore, or a place to stash some loot you perhaps shouldn't have. But, do you want to see a big base? Yeah. Good, because we're going to industrialize. So we're going to set ourselves a goal before we do a video, and we're going to create a base that's capable of crafting something that's bigger than the item fabricator can handle. It's been a bit of a spoiler already as to what it's going to be. So to kick us off, called in the help of a friend who has a specialized, not yet revealed base building vehicle, and he's built us this. It is the construction hub. This has 4 automated drones compared to the GravCarts 2. They can build small, medium, and large buildings. So far, we've only seen small. Automated drones are capable of building 1 structure each simultaneously, so 4 is quite a big advantage. We'll pop into our construction AR and we'll get down a generator, we'll connect some buildings together just so we have a place to call home before we begin. All right, there we go. So we've settled on one of the brand new underground resource deposits and we're about to exploit it using this. It is our extractors. This particular one is a large solid extractor. We'll also have liquid and gas depending on which type of deposit that you've settled on. We have our output grid here where we're getting all the brand new resources up out the ground. And it is important to note that once these things are set up, it's not a case of just free resources forever. On key structures like this, there are fuses which will occasionally need replaced, as well as environmental wear which can be fixed using crafting materials. Now we want to turn those raw resources into the more valuable refined materials. We saw the process talked about earlier with Thorsten. Of course, we want this. It is our refinery. Once again, there are multiple types here. This one is the large solid matter refinery. We have liquid and gas again, as well as biological, depending on the type of materials that you're using and want to produce. Refinery has input and output grids. For input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refined goods. This is determining where you'd select which blueprint you want to use, and therefore which type of refining method you want. A lot of crates here with our extractor and our refinery, so we're going to put down our elevator storage. Base is really starting to build up now, but it's worth me mentioning again here that whilst we're putting these buildings down instantly in this video, large structures like this, they will take some time with the automated construction drones, but the smaller scale base we saw in the previous video, that can be done in a single play session. We'll just keep on putting down more extractors because we want as much as that valuable resource out the ground as quick as possible. And with base building, we're introducing the concept of a freight elevator network. What this will allow you to do is it will allow you to link multiple freight elevators together, and in turn they will share the same storage. So as we're doing here, we'll deposit an item on freight elevator A, and then we're retrieving it on freight elevator B. There is a distance limit, but you can daisy chain the elevators together to extend that. And it has to all be contained within the same base.
That's awesome.
Now, as we expand, we might want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people access to our base, and they can even build their own structures if they wish. We can also give them access to existing structures, which is how you can form your org storage using those freight elevators. Now, we always want a safe place to store our ships, so the trusty hangar will do.
My goodness.
See, it has this large, we call it a foundation tile. It's quite special in that it can actually deform the terrain around it, making it easy to place such a huge structure like this. You can also place other buildings on it, so it's easy for making large, sprawling bases. However, there is one final piece of the puzzle that we need to achieve our goal, and it is this, our very own fabrication hangar. Does anyone want to guess what we're going to build in a fabrication hangar?
ships.
An Idris, maybe not an Idris, if I'm honest. We'll have a drive around, we'll go to the entrance and we'll see what's in store for us. Looks like whatever it is, it's just about finished crafting. Of course, we were going to build ourselves a ship. So, quick recaps of the gains from industrializing. We've tapped into the brand new resources and we've made use of them by turning into the more valuable refined materials. We've introduced freight elevator networks, which are great for logistics and hauling. And then we've created our fabrication hangar, which allows us to craft big valuable items such as ships. Now, ships are valuable because you can fly them, you can play content with them, but because they are a crafted item, they can also be sold to other players. So, with base building, you're going to be able to set up your own shops, and there's two main ways you can do this. The first is using a dedicated trading terminal. You can link these to your freight elevators, and in turn, any items within can be listed for sale at a price you deem reasonable. This includes resources, refined materials, and so on. Using the terminal, visiting players can browse what's on offer, purchase, and then collect from that same freight elevator. The second method is to set up a physical shop in the world. By using the decorator AR we saw earlier with Luke, you can maglock items and then list them for sale. Once again, browsing players, they can see the price of the maglocked item, purchase it, which then removes the maglock. Of course, the nice thing with physical shops is you can genuinely make it feel like a store. You can put items on shelving. You can even go as far as to make your own ship showroom. You can advertise your wares on a mobile pass for UEC. However, it is important to note that the point of purchase will always occur at the base itself. Now that we know how to set up shop, I just want to take a moment to talk about why it's so impactful for crafting and base building the game as a whole. Understandably, throughout this presentation, we've been telling you why you want to craft all these things or why you want to build this big base. But maybe you don't have the time to build a big base and maintain it. Maybe you want to spend your time doing the missions, you want to do your beacons, that's how you want to make your credits instead. Shops mean that you can benefit from the players who do want to spend the time making those bases or crafting those specialist items, and then you can purchase them from them, which is very important because crafted items using high quality materials will be the most powerful in the game. On the flip side, if you do specialize, maybe you end up cornering the markets for a particular item or resource, and your shop will then turn into a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits. Some of you will become infamous because of it. But bear in mind, a successful shop also depends on location. Do you want your customers on Edge and Pyro, which tends to have the higher quality materials? Or do you want to spend time hauling them all the way over to safer systems where your customers can be more at peace? We've talked about selling items. Let's sell the look of your base. We have foundation tiles, which can help you divide up the foundation decals, which help you divide up the foundation tile. You can place them freely wherever you want, and they just help you mark up areas like, I want to use this place for cargo, I want this for housing, vehicles, and so on. You'll be able to earn paint in-game and apply them to buildings. As well as add your own custom text, so if you're part of an org, the blue buildings that have your name are definitely yours. We have some forms of base building which are either still in the design phase or early white box, but we want to share some details. First up, we have farming and ranching. Farming, it comes in two general types. We have our low-tech farming and then high-tech. Low-tech consists of you acquiring the seeds, planting them in the appropriate environment. If you remember back to yesterday, the Brave New Worlds, we had soil types and such now. That'll play a part. As well as supplying them with nutrients and then just harvesting them when they're grown. High-tech, it's a bit more involved because you've got to make the hydroponic buildings we see here, but in return, you'll be able to grow exclusive strains of plants. Ranching will allow you to keep herds of animals. You'll have to provide them with feed, water, and shelter, but in return, they will provide you with produce. Not every animal can be ranched. I don't really see a sandworm ranch anytime soon, but the quasi-grazer will, of course, will. Not yet. Maybe. No. We have a few more additional archetypes. We have landing pads, garages, roads, fencing, as well as new variants of structures which you've seen today. For instance, the power generator, there'll be solar power, fusion, geothermal, as well as the XL structure class. So if you remember, everything we've seen today, the biggest we've seen today, rather, is large. XL is larger than large. And then you have your defense. So, in lawful areas, you have varying levels of security provided for you. With max security, you are protected by planetary shield tech. However, in lawless, pyro and the likes, you'll have to provide your own defenses. These come in the form of perimeter walls, shielding, which prevents aerial bombardments, and then a range of automated turrets, such as PDC to shoot down missiles, anti-air, anti-vehicle, and anti-personnel. To round up, whilst we spent this entire time talking about how you can expand a single base, you can, of course, have multiple. These can be across a single planet, moons, across multiple systems. There are advantages and disadvantages of locations and base types. For example, in lawful areas, you'll need to buy your land for UEC, pay a tax to be able to build, and then you'll gain protection in return. In lawless, no cost, high chance of better quality materials, but no security to fall back on. A small cabin in the woods can be great to set up in a single play session with short build times. However, the large base we just saw will take days, weeks, or even months, depending on how big you want to go. You might want to embark on this endeavor as a team or an org. You can set up a base as an org and own it as the org. For this, there will be permissions available, and you can assign roles and tasks. Ultimately, base building can be your main gameplay loop or a supplementary one, depending on what it is that you value. On that final note, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the crafting and base building teams. We've been very excited to share with you some of the work so far and the vision we have for these systems. But before we go, we have one final video.
Best panel right there.
I'd just like to say thank you especially to Kian and Zheng Shui. They worked very hard on this, and you might see that base again later today. So stick around. Thank you.
Hello, Citizencon. I'm Kirsten, your core tech producer, and I'm here off the back of that amazing presentation with Thorsten. How are you feeling, Thorsten?
Much better now.
That was an incredible view to what players can expect next from crafting and base building. Do you want to tell us a bit more about the crafting system and what players can expect to come next?
So I think we talked a lot about that already in the presentation, but it's a really dramatic change, or an exciting change, I would say, to the game, because we give the resources a meaning apart from just a monetary value. Now, even with the quality system that we now implement, there will be also a meaning to scout for like the perfect material. And of course, you need a bigger variety of the materials to be able to craft the items you need. And especially now with the tiered system that we will introduce, we also give a meaning for you as the crafter or the player you are to invest the time to be the best or the specialist.
I agree, Stranger Beast. That would have been a very smooth reveal of a new ship.
Is that we treat it as a real profession, and we have it as in parallel to all the other professions that we already have.
So it's not just about making the universe more dense, it's also about making it more interactive and making everything in it more valuable.
And more meaningful, yeah. So something that is also important for us is that everything that we do for this new feature is that we meaningfully integrate it into the game, so it all makes sense, right? So also with like the recent changes we did to the itemization in 324.2, we also, like, this is the starting point of all the changes we will be doing for all items, and that the reason why we did those changes were just because of crafting.
So what impact will the crafting system have on orgs?
Well, as also mentioned in the presentation, like, we want to see orgs building an empire of crafting or of manufacturing items and being like the get-to point for players to like go to their base and buy in their particular shops the items that they heard that they have the best, for example, FPS weapon for.
And I'm guessing that'll tie in quite well to the biomes we saw yesterday as part of the core engine presentation, right?
Yeah, the biomes will also heavily affect what we do for crafting, because it also will give us a good opportunity to spread around resources in more interesting places, like the giant forests you saw, right? For example, if you have a prospector as a miner, it might not be efficient, or you might not even be able at all to go down into the trees to mine anything that is below it. So you need to grab your ROC or your FPS mining gear to actually grab the resources that you can only find in those particular areas. So yeah, we will benefit a lot from this.
Super excited. Well, on that note, how has this Citizencon compared to previous years? You were at LA last year. How is it to be back here in Manchester?
It looks a bit smaller, but I got told it's actually bigger. So yeah, so I really like the location, like the theme it has. I like the community area with the cargo crates. So I think it's really nice. Yeah.
Is there any specific highlights so far for your Citizencon today and yesterday?
So it's a very subjective take on it, but I really liked our presentation about the orgs and the social stuff, because I'm part of an org myself. So I really looking forward to better tools to organize our trainings, our works, our events.
Do you want to give a little shout out to your org whilst you're here on camera?
Yeah, so shout outs to Aras.
Nice one. All right, well, on that note, we're going to throw to Dan.
Okay, he's live.
Yeah. Back to the community booth section here at Citizencon 2954. We are here back, and we are with some old friends. We are here with Test Squadron. And I want to give a quick apology to my good friend O Lefty. Sorry for calling you D Lefty last year. I promise it's not because D is the first letter of my name and I'm a narcissist. But that's probably why. So apologies for that. But awesome. Chrome Ninja, tell us about Test Squadron and why you guys are back here at Citizencon. What's Test Squadron all about?
Yeah, so Test Squadron, we're the largest gaming org in Star Citizen. We've only got like 3,000 people. I think we just checked it the other day. We're just hitting over 23,100. But we're a casual gaming org, and we're here giving away free stuff. We've got all this stuff on the table.
Awesome. There's some cool swag here. We got coasters, we got pins, we got pens. Tons of awesome stuff here at Test Squadron. If you guys are looking to join a sort of friendly way to join Star Citizen, Test Squadron is the place to do it. We're going to move on. Thank you so much, Chrome Ninja. We're going to move right along to my good friend Tom Beckhauser. Tom, how's it going?
Hi, Dan. So I'm Tom Beckhauser. I'm a real-life racing driver and Star Citizen Twitch streamer. And for this year, Locust69, Pretty Vanilla, and I decided to make a 1 to 200 scale Banu Merchantman made out of resin. Total of 26 individual pieces that we assembled, primed, sanded, and painted.
Tom, this thing looks amazing. I mean, in addition to being a badass race car driver, you're also a badass model maker. This guy, there's nothing he can't do. I see you're giving away some Banu Merchantman little minis. We also have the little, the BMM pins, and we have the Defender mini. Sorry, I got those mixed up.
Handing out the Defender miniatures and pixel art.
Yes, you gave me one the other day. This is awesome. Tom, people can find you at twitch.tv/Tom Beckhauser. If you guys are interested in checking out more of Tom's awesome stuff, go check him out. Tom, thank you so much for being here. Look at that. To take a look one last time at the BMM before we move on. So freaking cool. Thank you, Tom, for coming over. We're going to shoot now over to Sam, who is here at Atlas. Sam, take it away.
Oh, hi, guys. I'm here with ADI, and they have something really cool this year. Welcome to the ADI ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Again, did I sound like me, or could you give us a quick intro to what you guys are doing here?
Yeah, this is the Area 18 ASOP terminal and freight elevator terminal. We have, a fully interactive experience here, and we tied this in with our giveaways for this year. So we have Freight Manager as well, and this is where you can take, what's this? A hacking card. We have Tiger's Claws that we've been giving out. You have to search for them. You put in, and you go through the hack experience. Unfortunately, ADI is an anti-piracy org, and this is a mongrel hacking chip, so we don't want it.
Boo, I'll go take it back to Mongrel then. Come on, let's go take it back to those guys. Come on, guys. Crime never pays.
Piracy is not a real game. Sorry. We only grief and kill for fun.
Amazing. So, right, thank you. So, what are you guys showing off at your booth today?
Well, we are showing off Mongrel Squad to begin with, but also our sister orgs, as you can see, where we have the auxiliaries, the pack rats, and the cartel, which run the prison, but also ourselves, the premier pirate org, entirety of Star Citizen.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to move right on to the next guys. Thank you for showing off your booth, and hopefully we'll get to some folks to visit you throughout the day today. So, I have bumped into this guy again.
I'm back.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, I'll take it from here. Thank you, Sam. And finally, for our last little bit of the community booth, for this segment, we still have a little bit more to go over today. We have Atmo. Now, you guys all know Atmo at this point, creators of the Daymar Rally and a ton of other amazing events. They also have an event here in Manchester after the show. If you guys haven't gotten tickets for that, please go get them right now. They're going to be over at Aviva Studios after the show. Be sure to check them out. We love Atmo. They had an official place here last year. And as you can see, they also have planned out for the 2955 Daymar Rally these awesome trophies that they're going to be mailing to the winner. These things are hefty. These things actually weigh a ton. I will absolutely be trying maybe to go to the Daymar Rally just so I can try them out, although we all saw my playing earlier today. So maybe not. But you guys do some awesome work. Thank you guys for all you guys do at Atmo. We're excited to see your guys' event later tonight. Be sure to check out Enter Atmosphere at Aviva Studios later tonight if you're here in Manchester, or check it out on the stream. Well, I think that's it for us for right now. We'll be checking out the rest of the community booths later. Sam, anything else to add?
Nope, just straight over back to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Guys. Crafting and base building.
fundamentally change all life in the persistent universe? Just a little bit, right? There's more of that coming later today, by the way. Before I get to my deep honor to introduce two of my favorite people, I do want to call out these lovely little note cards here. You've seen many of our presenters and our hosts carrying them here. I have not been carrying mine, and I probably should have. This one just says, "Don't run." This one says, "Thank Kat and Mandy, but also Tyler and Leah." Guys, can we get a round of applause for Tyler and Leah, please? Now, Tyler, you probably know, is our Director of Community. Tyler is what we call internally as a product owner. He is the product owner for Citizencon. So everything that you see here at this event this year is touched in one way, shape, or form by Tyler Wicken. So please give a round of applause for Tyler Wicken. And because Tyler Wicken can't do anything by himself, Leah is the one who does most of the hard work. So Leah, who will never be on camera and who hates to be embarrassed, please give a round of applause for Leah, please. This one just says, "Learn to stretch." This one says, "Don't let the intrusive thoughts out." I almost lost it with that rabbit weasel thing yesterday. This one says, "Hi, Dad." Hi, Dad. And this one says, "Don't run," crossed out, "Don't roll on the stage, dummy." All right, so that's enough for me. Guys, our next presentation is our annual ships presentation, this year titled Captains of Industry, being presented to you by two people who almost certainly need no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Ben Curtis was born in Manchester. No, I'm just. Vehicle art director Ben Curtis, and gosh. Oh, I was going to do something really embarrassing. All right. John Crew, you're saved. Come on out, John Crew. You're lucky they didn't wait. You're lucky they didn't wait.
Cheers, man.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all again. Love you too. Excited to be here. In case you don't know me and you weren't listening to Jared there, which I do quite a lot, my name's John Crew. I'm the vehicle director.
My name's Ben Curtis. I'm the vehicle art director.
In other words, money makers.
And the clicker is not working.
Oh.
So if you've got technical difficulties...
You have to do a dance, John.
There we go.
There we go. We're good.
Right. So, today we're going to be talking about the vehicles to build your universe. And for those of you that watched the previous presentation, which is awesome, about base building and crafting, you should be familiar with the construction grav cart. And you've seen how this works. You might be wondering, well, if I've got this, why do I need some vehicles to do things? I know there's going to be some of you that will be perfectly prepared to go push this thing hundreds of kilometers out of the garages at New Babbage. But realistically, you're going to need a ship to put it in. It can't carry supplies by itself, so you're going to need to put supplies on the ship, move them. And it has small drones. And that's the key aspect there. It has 2 small drones on board. And drones will have sizes.
Okay, so, yeah, basically everything you're going to be building in Star Citizen has its size class. A lot of you are familiar with how we class our ships and a lot of other things in our game. So it ranges from small all the way up to large and extra large. And our drones kind of fall into those classes as well. But what does it really mean, the difference between what's a small drone, what's a large drone, what's a larger than large and extra large, and so on. And basically, a medium drone, for example, can build any structure up to a medium size. So it can build smalls, mediums, and it will be able to build small structures faster than what a small drone would. So the size makes a difference depending on how big you want to go. But the drones also scale in Let's go in numbers. In the, one drone can only make one structure at a time. So the grav cart's got 2 drones on it, so I'll be able to create 2 small structures. But a medium, or if you've got a vehicle that carries multiple drones, you can craft a lot more structures, a lot bigger sizes. And that's kind of really the key to kind of like the upgrade path through the kind of drone sizes. So we've had a look at the small. So what's next? What do you want to build? A medium. So I know some of you have already seen it, but this is the CSV from Argo.
So launching today is the very first ground vehicle from Argo, the Construction Support Vehicle, CSV. So this specialized chassis is developed to take on all the conditions on all our planets. It's a little rugged beast that really does just go everywhere. And if you're constructing a new settlement, there's 2 things you need. You need drones to build it, you need supplies to supply the drones to build it. And that's why the CSV comes in 2 variants. So we have the CSV FM, which stands for Fabrication Module. So this has 2 medium drones on board, and we built it to fit in as many vehicles as we could practically get it to fit in. So it fits in vehicles from a Cutlass Black upwards. It's approximately, and everyone always asks me, what ship fits in what, and I lose track of it all the time. It's about the size of a Tumbril Cyclone. So if you can put a Cyclone in a vehicle, you could put one of these in it. Obviously, 2 medium drones on board, and then it has an internal storage tank for resources. So it has a very small version of a freight elevator built into the back of it. So you feed it 1 SCU crates, it absorbs them into the holding tank on board, and then the drones will come back to the vehicle to refill. And it also has a size 0 serial generator on board for a bit of added protection. What happens when you run out of resources? This is where the CSV SM for supply model comes in. So the second CSV-based vehicle in the game, and this has a traditional 4 SCU cargo grid on the back. So 4 1 SCU boxes, 2 2 SCU boxes, 1 4 SCU box. Depending on what you buy, you can use this to bring it and move it around. So this is the perfect companion vehicle to the CSV FM. Said that. Shield generator as well. Moves about 28 meters a second. My brain is fried. I can't remember what that is in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. And it is available right now to drive in SC Alpha 324.2. Available at playerc.csv. So now,
in other words, purchase it right now.
Let's take a closer look at the vehicle, and Ben's going to go through it.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is the in-game version of the CSV. It's complete with its 4 SCU of cargo up on the rear. And I think the CSV kind of really builds on what Argo is known for as a manufacturer. It's got those kind of like really kind of hard industrial looks, and I think it helps it kind of feel at home on any build site. All of its components are easily accessible. And I think the exterior is like real dominating factor is those kind of large all-terrain wheels, and then that's kind of backed up by just simple, smooth, sleek lines. We've got the front-loaded cab that puts all the controls kind of right in the kind of where the player needs them, and I think that's one of the keys to the ship as a whole, or the vehicle as a whole, sorry, is it's simple, it's purposeful, it's functional, and I think that just kind of just helps it to kind of feel part of that Argo family. But what if you want to go bigger?
Bigger?
Bigger. Okay. So, introducing the Starlancer family. So, yeah, the Starlancer is basically a whole new family of vehicles, from MISC, and these are covering a range of different roles. Today, we're going to be talking about the first 3, which are the build, which kind of makes sense, and that basically is for all your large structural construction needs. We have the TAC, which is going to be for people that want a little bit more defensive or offensive excursions in our universe. And then we have the MAX, which is a dedicated hauler but it can still pack a bit of a punch. So we're going to take a bit of a closer look at all of them today. We're going to start off with the build.
So this is the Starlancer build from the outside. The key thing to take away here is you'll see it has the drone bays on each side, and then it has the drone resupply arms for allowing the drones to come back and resupply. Inside that room, you have the drone control center. So you have a single station inside, and this is where you control all your drones from, much like Luke showed you in the previous presentation. So there are 2 large drones held on each side of the room, so 4 large drones in total. And then there are 2 filler stations right at the front here, and these each hold 16 SEU of capacity, which can then go and load the internal resource tank to feed the drones. Drones will then be deployed out of their little secret garages, and they go off and do what you've asked them to do. When they need to resupply, they'll come back, sit on these arms, suck up their resources that they need, carry on their day. That's the really important thing here, is that all these base building vehicles have enough storage on board to supply your drones. Obviously, if you're going to build 1 million things on your base, you're going to run out. But we want you to be able to have these vehicles and have knowledge that you're not going to be doing endless cargo runs initially to build your foundation of your base. You'll be able to build your base and have storage on that eventually, but these all get you going in the short term. So let's have a quick go over the stats. It holds 4 large construction drones. It's 83 meters long, 52 meters wide, 15 tall. Saw lots of rumors and chatters that people thought this was Freelancer size. It is not. It is significantly larger than the Constellation and Corsair. It's almost 600i in size, so it is a big ship. 2 S4 guns for the pilots, 16 missiles, remote turrets, and then 128 SU of cargo capacity in the build specifically. But what if you don't want to build stuff? What if, like me, you just want to burn stuff and destroy stuff?
So introducing the Starlancer attack. So like I say, this is designed to be a bit more aggression into the verse. So I think the first thing you're going to notice is the dual man size 5 turrets. Now these give much better kind of broadside coverage from any of the other variants. And then on top, we also have like a dedicated hangar that has been specifically designed to fit a Mirai Fury inside. And I'm sure we will see plenty of other ships try to be fitted inside.
Successfully or not.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think John's going to run you through the interior now.
So yeah, let's have a look over the tack from outside to in. So this is the tack in its default paint, so sort of military drab gray. Then internally, obviously Ben talked about the size 5 turrets. Then we have some drop seats behind, and these are on a deployable ramp, so you can do some ground assault. They will drop out, down. If you're doing a bit of ground assault, chances are someone's probably going to get injured, so there is an onboard medical facility directly behind there with 2 Tier 3 medical beds. Upstairs, obviously, there's the Fury hangar. Behind that is engineering. And then forward of the hangar is the refactored habitation and mess hall area, which is specific to the TAC, just because there's so much other stuff crammed in there. We had to redo the upstairs of it, basically, to fit that in. And we'll go over the more normal layout shortly.
Okay, so yeah, to sum up, I think the TAC's obviously going to bring a lot more firepower from the other variants. Its shield's been boosted up to two size 3 shield generators. It's got the med bay with the tier 3 med beds, drop seats, it's got the hangar, and it's still able to carry up to 96 STU of cargo. And you can secure yours today by going to play.se/Starlancer attack.
for life.
Okay, so I think you kind of hopefully agree that was a pretty great kind of trailer for the Starlancer Max. And as you can kind of see, we're just putting the finishing touches on that now. So yeah, we're just getting it all done, all ready for its launch at IAE. We will take a little bit of a closer look at it now. I think the Starlancer kind of really fully encapsulates Misk's kind of ability to create beautiful ships. It's got this bulbous design that really helps to kind of convey its underlying structure and its underlying strength. I think when the engineers were trying to kind of put this together, they were thinking about what's useful, what's great, and one of the things that we thought about was this deployable cargo grid that just brings the cargo down to the ground, makes it much easier for loading and unloading. And they also wanted to put the crew, they wanted to put what was important for them. So they've added a lot of windows out so the crew can see out into the verse, and it's one of the things that we know people like, is being able to have these kind of little windows out into space. And then above the kind of main habitation area, we've got these big skylights, and they just allow kind of like more natural light to cast down into the cruise area. For a bit more protection, you've got 8 size 3 missiles up front, and then a further 8 on top. And these are backed up by a set of size 4 remote turrets, both front and rear, that give good topside coverage. And then finally, when we get to the front, you'll see we have a further set of size 4 gimbal weapons. And again, these just kind of help to fill in those blind spots. I think as a whole, the engineers or Misk have done an exceptional job in creating a vehicle that kind of fully encapsulates the functionality needed, while still ensuring that the crew's kind of well-being and livelihood is protected. It's all in a package that kind of really dominates the sky, and I think it really shows off Misk's ability to deliver kind of quite beautiful ships.
Right, so don't worry, this is not an Origin 404 moment happening here. So let's have a look inside the Starlancer Max now. So, love it or hate it, we love it. The Misk traditional letterbox view is back. At the front of the ship, you have the pilot, co-pilot seat with 2 support stations at the rear. These are the ones that control the remote turrets by default. Then behind that, we have the escape pod room, 4 escape pods, 4 crew. And then behind that, we have the traversal. It's sort of a traversal room. It has a lift, goes between the 2 floors of this ship and goes to the exterior of the ship. And then a ladder for emergency backup. Behind that is the mess hall area, so nice shared communal space for you to relax with your crew. And then we move into the 4 individual crew rooms, each with double beds, so very luxurious for a spaceship, en suites for all. At the rear of this section, we have a further 2 lifts. These are just internal to go between the 2 decks of the ship. Then at the rear, we have the main engineering. So there are some components dotted around throughout the rest of the ship, but the bulk of your components and the engineering terminal are here at the rear of the ship. So that's upstairs. Let's go downstairs a little bit. We have the main vehicle entrance and cargo entrance for the rear section. This can be used as a garage, but it is also a cargo hold. Can fit vehicles up to a Ursa rover in size in here. And then on the Max, we have, as you saw in the trailer, it's sort of 1 cargo lift that drops down, but it retains a walkway throughout the center of the ship. So regardless of whether your cargo is up, down, being loaded, you still have traversal front to back of the ship. Then we have the downstairs of the traversal room, which also features the airlock onto the ship. And then lastly, we have the armory at the front of the ship. So if you're coming on board, leaving via EVA, leaving via that front entrance to the ground, you can stop off here, suit up, get your weapons, do the reverse coming back. And that is the Starlancer Max. So we'll quickly recap the stats. 224 SU of cargo, 128 on that ventral drop platform, 96 in the rear cargo area. It has 6 extra VTOL thrusters for all that extra mass that it's hauling. And it is available to pre-order now and will be flyable this IE at play.se Silencer Max. And if you pre-order now before IE, you will get this exclusive sapphire paint, which is in the Citizen colors and looks super cool in my opinion. So, we have talked small drones, medium drones, large drones. What about bigger things? So, who can guess what that is? So, I talked to you all quite some time ago about this in Germany. And this is obviously the original concept for the Pioneer. Now, some time has passed, and whilst the core concepts of base building have remained the same at a high level, how you physically build your bases has changed slightly. So back then, you were building everything on board the ship here. You would fly your Pioneer. This is the area I want to build in. I'm going to build my base on board the ship, and I'm going to drop it down. As you've seen, bases are a lot more expansive now. This doesn't work anymore. So we need to do a little bit of some reconcepting.
Okay, so one of the first things we really wanted to kind of solve was the arm. We know a lot more about how we're going to be constructing these structures now, and kind of the arm didn't really make a lot of sense anymore. All it really did was it made the space you need to land the ship almost twice as big as what it's kind of needed. And we're not real spaceship engineers. We don't make real spaceships. But what we do try and do a lot of the time is we try and take as much reference from kind of real life manufacturing as we possibly can. And I think that's really it's really key to what I think Star Citizen is as a whole across like all the different departments. In that we're trying to make a believable universe. And if you think about the arm, and whilst I can't deny it's a cool idea. I think really from a manufacturing point of view, all it really does is it adds a lot of complication and a lot of manufacturing costs onto what is already a very advanced, very large, very costly ship to make. So that was kind of like one of the kind of real first things we wanted to do. The second thing we wanted to look at was kind of have a little bit of a shift around of kind of like the egress points on the ship. The cargo position has moved, so we needed to kind of update that. We wanted to make sure that the landing pad made sense and had space to kind of come into the ship. And then we also needed a way of getting things out of the ship that we will be crafting. On top of that, we had a few other goals. Like I say, it needs to support all the updated kind of building mechanics. It needs to support all our current metrics, and I don't mean just character metrics, I mean all metrics, because we're going to be creating a lot of things inside this ship. We wanted it to kind of become a true self-sustained mobile base. We wanted it to kind of be kind of like the cornerstone of your crafting and construction ventures. And to do that, we needed to add a few extra kind of onboard facilities. So a med bay, like I say, the crafting area, the ability to refine or extract and refine materials.
So let's have a quick look over the updated interior of the Pioneer. So at the back of the ship, we have the classic bridge, looks out over the expanse of the ship. And then top and bottom of that in this image, we have the escape pod rooms. And then leading off those is the access to the manned turrets that remain. Then going downstairs, we have the cargo area at the top. Doesn't look like a lot. That's 1,000 SEU of cargo now in that space. Next to that is the fabrication control room. This is where you'll be fabricating larger vehicles and ships, as well as smaller fabrication machines next door for. You don't want to use this to build a small FPS weapon. It's a bit overkill, so we have that on board as well. In the center of the ship, we have a small fabrication hangar with roof and ramp egress. So if you're building a small ship on board, so things like a Nomad, you can build on board here. You'll be able to fly it out the roof of the fabrication hangar. And then we have the existing small landing pad that transitions from outside the ship to inside the ship. So cargo you can load via new entrance that Ben's going to talk about in a second, but you can still retain the ability to land a ship on top of this ship, move it inside your ship, all those things. Engineering at the rear, this is now capital components all the way around. It was a weird mix of size 3s before, it's now just all capital everything. Then we have the habitation, mess hall, medical area between the hangar and engineering. And then at the front, we have 4 extra large drones in the drone room. But we don't just have some pictures like this to show you. Ben's going to go through this in a bit more detail now.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to have a little look at kind of like the concept and where it's at on the interior. We start out on the interior bridge. It's very spacious, or command deck bridge, whatever you want to call it. It gives kind of really nice views out over the front of the ship. And right up front, you've got all the consoles required that you need to kind of control the ship, as well as the kind of additional remote turret access consoles. And then at the rear, we have the main kind of navigation components and some small engineering consoles. And kind of flanking either side, we've got these 2 corridors, and they lead out to the manned turrets that kind of sit above the bridge. And they also have all the escape pods needed for all the bridge crew. Like I say, we want this to kind of be a home away from home, so we have a very large, comfortable habitation area. Each of the crew members, they get their own individual crew pod. And one of the nice things about this is these actually open up, and they allow kind of each crew member to kind of decide like how much privacy they actually want. This is the crafting area. We've got the 4 kind of crafting machines. And these are right next to the cargo bay, the internal cargo bay. And as John says, this holds up to 1,000 SEU of cargo, so it's pretty sizable. To make it a little bit easier, it's got its own dedicated cargo lift at the back that, again, just simplifies that kind of getting cargo in and out of the vehicle. Down at the front, we have the drone room. Now, these will be 4 extra large drones, so they'll be able to craft our largest structures in game. They exit the ship out through the roof, and they're all controlled by the construction console in this area. And finally, we're just going to take a quick look at the crafting area on the ship. So you can see here we've got these blast shields down that kind of protect the crew in this area from what's going on inside. And then as these open up, we just finished making a storm. And as we see, there's a ramp that leads out, so you can drive any ground vehicles straight out the front, between all the landing gear, and you get this really nice kind of like sense of scale as you're driving underneath out the front of the ship. And we've also got the top exit for any flight vehicles. And then finally, we have the landing pad, and this just allows us for any ships that land up on deck, we can just bring them down into the belly of the ship.
So, that's the Pioneer. It's had quite the glow up over the years. Holds 4 extra large drones. And if you're interested in finding out what extra large drones can build, I highly recommend sticking around for the next presentation. It's about 20% bigger. I know the jokes, we always make ships bigger, but to fit all that in, it needed it. It can craft small ships and vehicles. And one thing we didn't show in that video is the landing gear actually have integrated ground resource extractors in. So when you find your plot, you land your ship and you can start extracting the resources from it. Capital components all round, and now it has 1,000 SU of cargo capacity. Now the bad news. When base building comes out, this will not be there day 1 of it. But we are starting this in the next week or 2, so it is in production very soon. So, To finish up, we'll do the classic one last thing. Citizencon is usually about looking forwards, but we'll do some housekeeping and look at the now and a bit before. So, oh, sorry, this is Ben.
Yeah, so you remember last year we teased these 10 vehicle silhouettes. Now, these were vehicles that we were planning on working on this year, and we've not quite delivered all of them yet this year. But we did come quite close. So far we've delivered 6. We've delivered the Pulse, the X1, the Medvac, the Argo and PUV 1T, the RSI Zeus, and the rework on the Retaliator. Oh, but what about the rest? Sorry.
So, all but one of these will be released before the end of the year. So the Legionnaire is the one that's going to miss out. And that's because we want to align it with hacking gameplay. But the rest will be here before the end of the year. So, Crusader Intrepid, Mirai Guardian, and the Polaris. So, we have a few patches between where I am today standing on stage and the end of the year. But let's start with some things that you're going to see at IEE.
So on top of those ships we've talked about, we also worked on a number of other ships this year. So we're just going to quickly go through them before we get on to what we're doing next. So we delivered the Sulen, the Storm, the Cutter Rambler, the F7A and F7C Mark IIs. So I always get tongue-twisted with these. And the F7A Mark Is.
They also did the Santok EI, the Sabre Firebird, the Peregrine, and then most recently, the Argo Atlas. So, like last year, where we did a little tease, can't just leave without teasing a little bit more. So, let's have a quick look at just some, emphasis on some, of the vehicles that we're working on in the next 12 months. So, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you, and a big thank you to all the vehicle team in all the studios around the globe. They give us all this really cool stuff that we can get to stand on stage and talk to you guys about. Some of them are probably hiding at the back, but I just want to say a big thank you to you all, especially for all the hard work on these recent ships.
Yeah. Massive, massive thank you to everyone involved in putting these vehicles together.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome, you guys. I swear some of those silhouettes looked a little familiar. Let's give it up one more time for the vehicle team. Let's hear it for the vehicle team, everybody. Woo! Call and response. We'll work on it for next year. Speaking of awesome ships, we are here at the Planet Ring booth here on the show floor at Citizencon. These guys...
All right, so I'm going to kind of let that roll in the background just to see if they do anything crazy, but I think this would be a great time to just go ahead and go over what we just watched. So real quick before I do that, let's make sure I get the right stuff here. All right. So this is going to be we're nearing the end of part 1 for this day 2. So here in a little bit, I'm about to go and take care of some business here in just a little bit, but then we'll be back around 8 o'clock tonight, so 8 p.m. So U.S. Central Time, sorry, and I will be going over the last panel, the Star is My Destination, Star Citizen 1.0. So they're going to be defining what their vision is for the 1.0 release. I cannot wait to do that panel, but before we get out of here, real quick, I just wanted to kind of run through kind of a quick little summary of kind of the highlights that I was writing down. So if you saw me looking down, I have my little notebook here that I've been writing stuff down. So just wanted to quickly go over that for you guys, and that way maybe I can kind of cut the little highlight segments out and maybe do like its own like little mini video or something like that. So So yeah, I guess we could just start at the very beginning of today, and we'll talk about the crafting. Very cool. Definitely a very interesting concept. A lot of different things that I've not really heard other games do before that I was kind of interesting, or they may have like expanded on certain ideas, but so the things that, of course, that they just kind of reiterated on from last year is you'll be able to make armor, you'll be able to make weapons, but then they start talking about how you'll be able to make ships and even base building stuff. So one of the things that was very interesting that I didn't really hear them mention again this year was the idea of crafting space stations. They might have mentioned it, but that was something that they didn't really talk about, which I wouldn't expect that in the first iteration of it. So maybe they're kind of outlined more of like the short to mid-term base building mechanics that we would see over the course of the next year or so. But all in all, it very cool. So they showed off that crafted equipment means it's more powerful than, like, say, stuff that you can buy at a your local shops. So that's very cool. It gives crafting purpose. It means that if you really hone your skill in the crafting department, you can actually be rewarded by creating better equipment, either for yourself, or if you want to sell it later for other people, or you want to gift it to your buddies, that sort of thing. Or if you're part of an organization, it could go towards the cause of whatever it is that you guys are doing. So that's really cool. I like it that crafted equipment is always better. They mentioned something about the player driven economy, so I don't know what that means for their quantum economy system that I'm just going to call it quantum because that's what they used to call it, but I've heard that they've been wanting to change that for a while. But the quantum economy, I don't know if they're just going to be completely doing away with that, because we haven't heard anything about that in a couple years now, so who knows. But they'd mentioned player-driven economy, which it makes sense. They're talking about being able to make industrial empires, this, that, or the other. So it's very interesting to see that like as kind of the forefront of what they envision for base building. So very cool. Blueprints. So they kind of mentioned blueprints last year, but they kind of went over a little bit more detail on what that involves. So you can find blueprints or you can obtain blueprints by either finding them, you can purchase them, or you can get them as rewards for missions, or like they're locked behind reputation benefits. So you in order to get like a legendary blueprint for something, you may have to have a high reputation, and then on top of that, complete a mission within that high ranking or high reputor mission to be able to even obtain a legendary blueprint of some sort. So very cool. Then they kind of talked, another thing about the blueprints that I wanted to mention too, while we're talking about blueprints, because they mentioned later about the blueprints. You can improve and upgrade your gear that already exists, I guess. So if you already had like a weapon already crafted, or one that you found, I guess from what I understand, you can get blueprints that actually will enhance it or make it better. So that's interesting concept. So I guess if you do purchase a weapon, you can always go back and upgrade it later with if you have that blueprint. So that's a cool concept. And another big thing, and I saw it was Dismer talking about the forever blueprints. So that I kind of like it being tied to a character, because for one, who knows, maybe they'll tie that into the death of a spaceman mechanic, but then they did say it would be forever, so maybe not. But I like the idea that, if you invest in your character and really build him up, you can have something very valuable that's tied to your character, that is unique to him, and it gives your character a little bit more value. And I think it's really cool. It shows that you really put in the time and really built up. That's player progression, something that Star Citizen really needs. So you have things to build towards and things to collect. And just because you have the blueprint doesn't mean you can just indefinitely craft whatever. You still have to put in the effort to go and obtain the resources, either by purchasing them or by stealing them from other players, or by getting them legitimately by mining them. So there's different avenues that you can obtain the resources, but all in all, like, it's okay that like blueprints aren't like a physical thing. I kind of like that it's tied to your character rather than a physical thing, because you're already going to have resources that are going to be stealable, and it will make the startup, like if your base completely gets decimated and like all of your stuff is just gone because somebody griefed you or whatever, being able to have blueprints tied to your account means that you can quickly get back on your feet, because you don't have to take the time to go find those blueprints or buy those blueprints. You'll already have a bunch of blueprints on you, and all you have to do then is just go and take care of that, or go and get your material and build up. So I like it. I like the direction they're going with blueprints. I think that is really great. Now kind of going back up towards the top of my highlights. They talked about item statistics, how you can get quality resources. So that was a big thing that they mentioned, where if you get like a resource that has a higher quality, and more specifically, like let's say you find laranite, and it has like a quality rating of like 200. Well, it's probably good. I mean, I don't really know what the number values are that are considered good or bad, but let's say for the sake of this example, you have like a 200 quality laranite, but then over here you have like a 400 quality laranite. Well, if you put the 400 quality level into your crafting, or into the item that you're crafting, it's going to give you a better statistic in whatever that particular resource modifies, if that makes sense. So you want to not only find the materials, but then you also want to take a look at what is the quality of that resource as well. So there's a lot of things that you've got to worry about, and that could probably go hand in hand with the whole research and also exploration. Like, you're probably going to be like have a reason to sending people out to go and explore and find these rich veins of resources, and that also includes what quality level. So you may find like a bunch of resources, but if they're like kind of lower quality, there may not be of really great value to you. So you're going to want to find a good balance between a rich vein of resources and higher quality, of course. So very interesting things that will help kind of drive where you decide to set up shop or mine from. So very cool. But they had all kinds of different things in regards to item stats that ranged from like, especially like with guns, you could get better recoil on a gun. And I need to probably pause the panel here. That's a great spot to pause, because we will be covering this last panel later. So let's see here. So I'll just switch to a different screen here. No, I should have turned the transition off, sorry. So where was I? So yeah, like you could have a resource that makes your recoil better on a particular weapon, or I don't know, maybe there's a resource that limits the wear and tear of your gun. Maybe it makes the gun actually physically better quality, where it's not going to wear and tear as fast, stuff like that. But then they also applied that to vehicles as well, because you will be able to craft a vehicle at some point. like ships and whatnot. And they actually showed how like it could, like if you craft a better quantum drive, how you can have faster spooling times. Or same thing could be applied to if you create like a mining laser. That mining laser could have better qualities. Maybe it's able to extract more resources or help the mining laser be a little bit more stable for you. Stuff like that. Or salvaging, you could have a better salvage head on your ship or whatever it is that you're using to salvage, and be able to be a lot more efficient. So the whole progression system in regards to all that means that, you know, the more you're playing, the more efficient you're getting, and it can then, of course, you can then put all of those resources into upgrading your base or upgrading your operations, you know, this, that, or the other. So very cool. They kind of teased cooking a little bit. So maybe we should start calling the hot dogs quasi dogs. I'm coining that phrase, CIG. Quasi dogs, mainly because those will probably be the only like animal that we will have when crafting goes in regards to livestock type animals. So I'm calling now. I'm gonna call those the quasi dogs, if they're not already named as such. So because that's the only meat that would be available, of course. But yeah, they kind of teased cooking essentially. So chefs, if you are wanting to be a chef in the game, that will be an option. So that'll be interesting. But they showed off an interesting Volt pistol, which I think we've seen concept art for it before. I can't remember if we've seen like an actual in-game asset for the Volt pistol, but that is kind of cool to see it on the crafting menu, where they showed the different statistics. And then they talked about a tier system. So there's like tiers 1 through 5 in regards to the quality of whatever item you're using or creating. And it's also tied into the quality system, and as well as probably research and development type stuff. So I can't remember fully how all the tier system works, but the tier system is basically like, you know, the higher the number, the better the item that you're crafting. So there was that. They showed off some fabrication machines. They have different tiers or sizes of fabrications, ranging from just little simple small little gear fabricators and decor fabricators, all the way up to like ship fabricators. So very, very awesome. Made with 20% real quasi meat. We have the meats. That was a good one. So that's kind of one of the things I'm expecting. Is probably the first size of fabrication. We probably won't see a ship fabricator in the first iteration of like crafting and base building and all that. So, but oh my goodness, my stomach, it's been crazy today. Sorry if you guys could hear it all throughout the stream. I tried to mute. They showed off different different styles, not only different sizes of fabricators, but they showed different types of fabricators. So there was item fabricators, chemical fabricators. So if you're having to extract and refine resources into some sort of chemical, you can do so, and then I guess fabricate probably different chemical, I can't even remember the terminologies there, but different things that are going to help you, of course, with, you know, probably base building or selling stuff. So really cool. Nutrition fabricators. So that one's probably going to be how you can craft different food and processed meats, like the quasi dogs. So there was that. And they said that to kind of go back to the blueprints real quick, they said that there was over 1,000 blueprints. So that's really cool. That we'll have access to. So that's a lot of different things that we will be able to craft. And then I thought they kept saying draft cart because, you know, in regards to base building, I thought they kept saying draft cart, but I guess it's grav cart. So it's kind of hard to tell what he was saying there, but it's basically your land surveyor, but it also can deploy drones for the ability to fabricate buildings. Those drones, I guess each grav cart has 2 of the small drones, and so they can go out and then help fabricate a building. I think you fly the drone to place it, so that kind of explains the the top down view of the entire area. So that's what the drone would be like. And then I think once you select a spot that you want to place whatever fabricated item or object in regards to your base, I think then it probably switches to an automated view where it's like you can like visually see it, like crafting it, like basically 3D printing it before your eyes. I don't know how in depth it's going to be like that, or it may just like eventually pop into view or something at some point, but it'll be interesting to see how all that works. And then they showed off like power sources, so, or they like a generator or whatever. So they showed how you could place down different types of power sources, that be a generator or solar or maybe even water generator. I can't remember if they mentioned water generator, but that's just, you know, another power source. Solar, of course. And then it actually showed like kind of how you can connect the power to your different structures. And they showed that if you have power to a structure, then you can also then connect power from that structure to another structure. So you don't necessarily have to have all these power cables from this generator or power source and then like string it all the way to this other building. You can actually kind of connect them all in series, essentially, and be able to have different power. And that was a electrical term. Let's see. They mentioned something about nature reserves, which is something that was different, that I haven't heard them talk about before. I'm curious as to what a nature reserve is, but it's they mentioned it as a no building zone, so I guess there will be like a nature reserve somewhere on a planet maybe, and in those particular areas it's going to be a no build zone. So I would imagine there's probably going to be multiple like lore explanations as to why you can't build in every single spot on a planet, such as like landing zones. That's probably gonna, like, there's probably gonna be a certain radius around a landing zone that you are not going to be able to build in, of course, because then people would build barriers that will prevent players from being able to enter and exit certain areas, and they're not going to, they don't want those types of things to be taken up. Also probably the bunkers, or the different outposts or whatever. They're probably going to have certain radiuses around outposts that you're not allowed to build, because that's content that you're essentially borrowing off, and people don't like that. So there's that. I hope not all caves would be barred off. It'd be kind of cool if you had a cave or access to a cave on your property. So I'm hoping they don't make it completely or limit it too much in that regards, but we'll see. Then they showed off the resource manager menu, and one of the things that kind of caught my eye, if you look while they're showing off the resource manager menu, if you look in the upper right hand corner, it actually tells you your weekly taxes. So obviously that's in the high sec and low sec regions. If you're in the no sec region, then you don't have to worry about the weekly taxes. But it showed like 9,999, but I think that might have just been placeholder. So you'll have to dish out at least weekly 9,999 according to that little demonstration. But once again, that's probably just placeholder. Let's see. So there's your weekly taxes. Hangars and ships will get, so in order to place down like a an item that you can decorate, or like furniture or this, that, or the other, you will be able to use like a hologram kind of thing to place that item, so you don't have to like try to squeeze objects through small doors. You can then like have that object within your local inventory and then be able to just place it down using a hologram. So that's cool. But they did say that same sort of thing can be applied to your hangars and your ships, so that's cool. So being able to have full customization of your hangars and ships, and what kind of furniture you want to put on said ships and hangars is really cool. That's very useful, you know. Any ways that you can have like your own like thing is always cool. So really cool to see. They showed off in the industrial bases section of the presentation that you can build extractors, which looked like they were pretty much ready to go. Like it didn't look like there were anything too crazy there left to work on. Maybe some polishing and some a little bit of art and lighting, because it did kind of look a little off in regards to the lighting, so they may have to go back and tweak it, make it look a little bit more lived in, maybe adds a little bit of like dirt textures on it to kind of make it look a little bit more like it's not like just pristine out of the box kind of thing. And I'm sure they'll probably have wear and tear system where over time it will degrade and look like grimy and this, that, or the other. But I don't know, it did kind of feel a little out of place. So I would imagine by the time it gets in our hands, they'll probably get it to where it looks a little bit more lived in, or give it that lived in feel. They showed off that you can build a refinery, which is great. So that's a great thing that you'll be able to plop down and be able to refine the resources that you have mined right then and there. You don't have to go to a specific part in the verse that is highly trafficked and highly risked. You can actually just go to where your base is and then refine all of the resources that from there, which is really cool. And they showed that that was in a pretty complete state, or it seemed like it was. So that was cool. Then they talked about storage, and I guess from what I understand, like you can have different storage freight elevators that go down to your local inventory of your base, and it's probably just like an arbitrary like plane of existence that all of your inventory will go to, kind of like it is now in the like landing zones. But you will actually have freight elevators, and from what I understand, as long as you're within your zone, within your land claim, those elevators will have access to the same storage. So if you have a structure way off over there, like I don't know how, I think they said 8 kilometers was the radius. If you have like a structure system over there, like on one side of the base, and then they have another one on the other side of the base, you can have like freight elevators right next to said structures, so you don't have to like call up your resources from one area and then have to actually physically transport it to the other opposite side of the base. It will be accessible from anywhere that you're at, and that's at least how I understood it. So that was kind of cool. You know, they're thinking of ways to make these things as easy and fluid as possible, which I like. Especially they're doing it now before they get it into our hands, which is very important. They did mention, of course, access restrictions a little bit there. So that of course plays into your if you're in an organization, you would be able to specify different access to different rooms or storage facilities. So they did kind of briefly cover that a little bit. And so that kind of went hand in hand with what they mentioned yesterday in regards to org tools and you know, a little bit more of an example of, if you will, for that. So really cool. I like to see stuff like that, because you may have a new recruit and you don't really fully trust them, so you're not going to want them to have access to literally everything on your base. As an org, obviously, you know, espionage should still be a thing, but you know, it'd be somebody who's really dedicated to that, and it will actually like be patient and wait for the moment when they get to a level within the org before they, you know, do that. And that, you know, that should be possible to do, but there should still be like limitations to what people can do in that regard. So really cool to see that they were thinking about stuff like that, to make sure that people can't just go wherever they want within an organization's base. And of course, they confirmed hangars are going to be a functional thing. That was big. Like, it's kind of interesting to see or like understand like how they could get a hangar that is supposed to drop down into the ground, how that's going to work in regards to being able to lower your ship and raise it and this, that, or the other. So being able to actually place one down and actually deforms the ground beneath it to where whenever you look down in there, you don't see the planets. You don't like see like any like planets clipping through, like as it goes down into the pit. You know, I'm sure your ship will kind of go into like a fog, but the fact that it'll be, you know, a placeable hangar elevator is really cool. Means that you can actually store your ships and call them and get all that in a safe place. Now, I'm hoping that it's not like the norm to always like store your ship in it, and I hope they do have some sort of limitations, maybe like how many ships you can have in storage. Because if you're a player or that has a lot of ships, it would be very important to put all of those in, or it'd be kind of cool that ships could be like exposed, because I like the idea that nothing is safe in regards to players and, you know, mischievous activities that entails. So the idea that somebody could actually come along and steal your ship would be kind of cool, especially if you have a blueprint, if like, because that means you could still craft a new ship, but if somebody can come along and steal a ship that you crafted, it'd be kind of interesting. But you need to have like turret systems and security systems that will help counteract that. I don't really want offline raiding that much. That's where the automated turret systems and all that should come in play. They're like, it should be really hard to do it. I'm not an advocate of people coming and just taking all your stuff while you're offline. I hate that in games. But I think it needs to be something that can be possible, but you have to come extremely prepared and probably in large numbers. So that's something that I look forward to seeing them explain a little bit more in depth. But yeah, and so they did mention, of course, the terrain deformation, but I mentioned that earlier. Fabrication hangars. So like the hangars, they actually have hangars that are designed to fabricate ships. So that's going to be how we create and craft different, excuse me, I got like a tickle in my throat. So that's how they're going to be able to fabricate your ships, is through the fabrication hangars. And they mentioned that fabricated ships can be sold by players to other players. So that's really cool. I need to quickly get through these because I got to get going here soon. You could craft sales terminals to go in and sell your items. So it would be a terminal that somebody could, you know, pull up to your base or whatever, and they can go to your terminal, and then you could then sell whatever kind of stuff that you've crafted, especially if you have high quality. And I would imagine you can set your own value to that particular item, and so then you could probably sell some stuff at pretty awesome rates, and hopefully the market will be very competitive in that regards, where people are posting reasonable prices, but oftentimes people will put them on the market for ridiculous prices. But that'd be cool. They showed that you'll be able to paint your buildings, so customization. So they showed that it is possible to be able to customize with any kind of color in the RGB spectrum. So that's really cool. curious to see how that applies to ships. They did show that you could brand your ships with your logos yesterday. So, and they showed different colors that kind of went along with that. So I don't know how they're going to do that, if they're going to monetize that or what. But if they want to keep selling ship skins, they're probably going to have to find a way to limit customization, which kind of sucks. But they've got to find ways of making money somehow. So I don't know how they would go about it. Maybe you have certain customization slots, and then if you want to do more like customize more ships, then you would have to add that. I don't know. I hope there's gonna be some free ship customization slots, but who knows. It's CIG, they got to make their money somehow, right? So and they show that you can place text on your bases, so you can kind of advertise what kind of base you are, or you know, if you want to just be able to advertise the name of your org. That's so cool. They talked about turrets and like how it can have like anti-air and, you know, different base defense systems. So hopefully those are, like I said, whenever I said earlier about like I want like your resources and ships and all that to be exposed to players being able to come along and steal them, I want it to be extremely hard. Like I want it to be like a full-blown like a raid that they have to endure, and even if you're offline, they've got to put up a fight. That's I really want it to be really challenging and hard. Otherwise, it's pointless. Because then Daisy, like Daisy, for example, it was pointless to build a base because people would identify where all of your loot is easily, because there's a base here, there's probably loot there. So then they would attack it, and they would wait until you're offline and can't defend it. So I want it to be just as hard to raid a base offline as it is online. So there's that. They mentioned that you could have multiple land claims. It'll be interesting to see if they monetize this or how they'll monetize it, because it's probably inevitable, but that'll be interesting. They showed off drones. They showed small, medium, large, and extra large. Man, I really got to get going. And they showed, and the drones are basically tied to the base building. Then there's Argo CSV. It could build medium structures. It has 2 medium-sized drones. And it is the same size as the Cyclone, so it could fit in the same ships that a Cyclone can. They showed off the Misk Starlancer, which could build large structures with 4 large drones, and it will launch at IAE. The Argo CSV is actually available to purchase today, and I think even drive maybe today. I could be wrong there. And then they, teased Polaris will be available at IEE, so people will be able to have it in game at IEE, and that pretty much covers it. So sorry about the quick rundown at the end there, but I really got to get going. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little showing of Citizencon Day 2 Part 1. Once again, I want to say thank you, and come back tonight at 8. Because we will finish Citizencon Day 2, where they talk about 1.0, what that all means. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys tonight. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.